How's it going? How are you? It's good to see you today. Today I'm going to be talking about the Fujifilm 56 1.2, just the regular version. Not, I think it's called the APD, I don't know, but it's just the regular version of the Fujifilm 56 1.2. So let's get into it. I don't really know how to say this, but this lens is something special. This is the lens that lives on my camera 90% of the time, probably even 95% of the time when I'm out doing a paid portrait gig. So anytime I'm doing, lifestyle portraits, family portraits, a graduation, a newborn photography, it's all this lens. There's some other times where I switch to a wider lens, but majority of the time, this lens is what I use, and this lens is what I make a full-time living off of as a photographer. This lens. So, this lens and this body is an X-T2, and you can run a full-time photography business off this camera, if you're savvy enough. And I choose to because I love it so much. Anyways, let's get into some technical, non-technical stuff. I'm not going to really talk to you much about the technical aspects of this lens. I don't care much about all of the lens elements in the lens. I care about how it functions and works as a lens. So let's talk about those things for a little bit. It's a 1.2 lens. Let's see here. Come on. Fokey on me. There we go. So it goes all the way. The aperture goes all the way to f16 down to 1.2. I'm normally shooting at this lens anywhere from f4 to 1.2. Is it a little softer at 1.2 than it is, at 4 or 5.6? Sure, it is. But it's not blurry. This thing is an amazing lens, and I take pictures with it almost every single day that people pay me for. So if you're looking for an amazing lens that you want to start a photography career around, get this lens. It's a killer lens. The color rendition is beautiful. I love the pictures that I take off of this camera. I'm going to I'm going to put up a couple of these pictures in a second, and I'll kind of talk you through each one and why I like this lens for each one of these different pictures. So I'll get to that in a second. But the f1.2, it's just beautiful. For portraits, it lets you be able to step back, get a full body portrait with a blurry background. You can get closer, get a close-up portrait, and it's a beautiful lens. It does what you need. It has a focus by wire, which means turning this, if the camera's off, does absolutely nothing. It moves nothing in the lens. It's an all electronic lens, but all of Fuji lenses are that way, so that's not that big of a deal. As far as focusing speed with this lens on either the XH1 or the XT2, I'll see if you can hear that refocus. It's not that slow. People complain and they throw dirt on this lens for being a slow lens. It's not that slow of a lens. There's never been a time when I'm out on a shoot and I've thought, wow, this lens is slow. It just doesn't happen. There has been times where I have missed focus a few times because I'm shooting at f1.2, but that's to be understood. I'm not as shooting that wide of an aperture at moving subjects, whether they're walking towards me or away from me or whether I'm moving around them. I understand that I'm going to lose focus, but a lot of the shots still are in focus, and that has to do a lot with the autofocusing system in either the XH1 or the XT2. But the lens keeps up, and it doesn't hinder my process as a photographer. If anything, this lens makes it better. The lens flares on this are awesome. I love shooting into the light and getting a beautiful flare across the photo. I think it's awesome. I rarely ever shoot with the lens hood because I'm looking to capture the flare in the image in a tasteful way. I think it's a really nice way to capture a photograph. But anyways, that's enough about me gushing over it. It's beautiful build quality, you know, like the other Fujifilm cameras, metal connections, or Fujifilm lenses, metal connections. It's a joy to shoot with. And like I said, I shoot with it almost on a daily basis out on paid gigs. And people love the photos I give them. One that's not necessarily the gear. That's, you know, it's part of the photographer, but the gear definitely helps give the product that I'm happy with giving to people. So let's get into looking at the photos that I'm going to show you here, and talk to you a little bit more about why I love each photos and why the Fujifilm 56 1.2 does a killer job at capturing images. Okay, so I'm headed up with a voiceover real quick to kind of walk you through these photo sets coming up. So I got 3 photo sets. There's 3 or 2 photos in each set that I kind of want to show you from this lens. Okay, so this first set here, I really like these shots. They're all kind of portrait lifestyle shots. This is in downtown Tampa area. It's called Hyde Park Village, and there's just a lot of cool little spots. As you can see, as the backgrounds here, this is all within a block or two. Just the different textures of the walls and the backgrounds. And you can see the separation from the subject to the background. That's what this lens is really good at, is getting that separation. The depth of field, the bokeh is very nice in this lens. But this first set I like because of the textures and colors of the backgrounds. Set number 2, this is out in Provo, Utah. This is actually just in a neighborhood where the flowers basically just filled the frame. But because of the telephoto nature of this lens, with it being a 56 millimeter, but an 85, 87 equivalent in full frame, it gives it a very cropped in look and feel. In my opinion, it shows just the perfect amount of background to foreground. You know, you can capture a subject and get the good separation. You're also not having to worry about a lot of distractions in the background. And I think shooting during sunset is an absolute must with this lens, or sunrise, just to kind of test it out, see the things that happen. For these shots were anniversary photos of their first year being married. And I think just the aesthetic that this lens gives to photos is very nice. And I think it's very flattering when people see it. You know, it's not something that they see and go, oh, I could have taken that with my smartphone. Where when you start getting wider and higher apertures, a portrait mode on a cell phone can almost take that photo. So this lens definitely shows the difference in what you as a professional photographer can deliver versus, you know, someone snapping something on a phone. This last set here, set 3, this is a cute little family that we did some pictures for here in Tampa, Florida. This is just on a little beach down near Tampa. Actually, it's just in the Bay Area, but I like the two contrasting shots here. You know, you have the kids here on the left playing. It's a tight shot. You know, the background's beautifully rendered. And the kids are, you know, tack sharp in focus. You can see the cute little girl's face smiling down at her brother. Beautiful little shot. You know, lighting, rendition, everything beautiful. You know, the little family walking on the beach. The one thing that I do have to say about this lens is, to get a wide shot like this, you do have to step back quite significantly, but you can see that it renders the foreground out of focus, the background out of focus, and they're tack sharp in the middle, and it's awesome. So I do like, you know, there's a pro and con to having to back up very far with a telephoto lens. You know, the 56, which is an 85 equivalent, you have to back up pretty far to be able to get a full body portrait, but you end up having to get foreground elements like you see here on the right. It's cool to give that depth in the foreground. You have your subject, and then you also have the background. It's something that you learn to make your photos better as a photographer, to add those layers. It tells more of a story, and it's just a more intriguing photo. So those are the 3 sets that I kind of wanted to share with you. Back to the video. Okay, I hope that you liked this video. I didn't mean to be a little bit too fanboy over this lens, but I love it. And if you're on the fence about getting it, I think it's about $1,000. That is expensive. You can find it on eBay, probably anywhere from $700 to $800, depending on the time of year. You can even get it new. It goes on sale, I think, about twice a year for about $800 new. I bought this one used off of Amazon. I think I got it for about $700, and it works beautifully. There's nothing wrong with it. As you can see, the lens is beautiful. If you buy a really crappy used version, you might have problems, but I bought it used and I absolutely love it, and I've used it every day for about 2.5 years. So I would definitely recommend the Fujifilm 56 1.2 if you're looking into getting into portraiture and lifestyle photography for families and stuff like that. I think it nails those pictures beautifully, and I love them as a photographer, the pictures, but even more so, people are so joyed when they get the pictures back. I can't praise the lens enough because it makes the work I do better. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps me out. Have a great day. I appreciate your attention. Have a great one.